So I've got a doppelganger, and it's starting to get ridiculous at this point. I mean, honestly, shit's real fucking weird. A couple months ago, I go into a Sephora. I have never been into the Sephora a day in my goddamn life. I walk in, and the lady at the front is like, oh my god, welcome in, so good to see you. How's your boyfriend? How's your life? Like, what you doing? You were just here yesterday. Like, why are you back? This lady would have died on her fucking hill that I was this bitch. So I was like, okay, whatever, you know, us white people, we look the same. So I was like, just brushed it off my shoulders. But then fast forward a couple weeks, and my boyfriend at the time goes out with his friends to Seattle. I'm living in Tacoma, and I'm staying at the house, right? And I get a call from him when he's out, and he's like, hey, like, you went out? Like, you're out? I'm like, I'm sitting on the couch right now. And he's like, there is a girl here who looks exactly like you. Okay, now this is where it gets real fucking weird. She was wearing the outfit that he had left me in. And do you know what I was fucking wearing when he left? Brown and white checkered bell-bottom pants. The bitch had the same fucking pants on. We had the same haircut. It was both dyed blonde, like everything. And he, like, my boyfriend at the time, we've been together for like over a year as well. And he's like, I swear to God, that's why I'm calling you. Like, I thought you were here. Like, then there's a grocery store up the street from my house. And I went in the other day, and they're like, oh, back for more? Like, you were just here. I was like, what do you mean? Right? And if you live in Seattle, like, this city is fucking small. And I live in the city. Obviously, this girl lives in the city. So, like, people seeing us all the time is not rare because, like, it's so small. Like, we are bound to cross in, like, different places. But I mean, like, I'm getting mistaken for her all the fucking time now. Okay, so yesterday, this couple comes into my job, right? And I work here in the city. And they keep looking at me and giving me strange looks. And they're like whispering to each other. And then they keep looking at me, and I walk off and I come back. And they're like, do you work at Liberty or like Liberty Bar? And I'm like, no. And they're like, yo, you look exactly like this girl. Like, we thought you were her. It's my friend's sister. Like, you guys look exactly the same. And I'm like, so now I've got to go to Liberty and see if I look like this bitch. And also, my dad grew up in this area, not my mom, but my dad is a hoe. Like, daughter, like father. So I'm like, you know, the possibility of me having a sister is less, like, more than likely than me not having another sibling out there in that world. Like, there's no way my dad hasn't reproduced another bitch. But I'm like, you don't recognize yourself when you see yourself. So I'm like, does this girl really look like me? But this has been crazy. Like, it's been months of being mistaken for her, and we keep missing each other, and it's getting stupid at this point. So I'm going to go to this bar and try to find her.
Love with my friend's wife. Before any judgment, please let me explain. I, 28 male, grew up with 3 good friends. We've been friends since we were like 8 years old. Let's call them John, Steve, Sean. Steve had a sister who I'll call Mary. When we were all kids around 12, Mary was 10. Her and John started dating. Yes, you think 2 kids dating? Well, that went for a very long time. Mary and John grew up dating and got married when they were 20 and 22. Unfortunately, John passed away from cancer 3 years ago. This was horrible for everyone, and especially Mary, of course. We were all friends, as I am close to her too. I lost one of my best friends since I was a kid in such a horrible way. Mary and John lived in a different state than me, and pretty much everyone just lives in different places. 4 years ago, I found a job in the same state as them. It's like 40 minutes away from their house, so I would visit often and was there during John's worst moments. Now, for the past year, I think Mary and I grew closer. I really wouldn't know how to explain it since we have all been close, but it just feels different. She has not dated anyone since John died. She even confessed around 8 months ago she hasn't even kissed or slept with anyone else, that she just didn't feel attracted to anyone. She has been on a couple of dates, but it's just weird according to her. Now, I have been feeling quite attracted to her for the last month. I just feel so happy around her and just really never felt like this about any other girl. Before anyone says anything, I didn't have any feelings like this before. She is pretty and always thought that, but never saw her in any other way while John was alive, which is why I feel so incredibly bad about this. I feel like I am betraying my friend. I haven't been able to talk to anyone because I don't even know how I could explain it. I like to tell sometimes that John would actually be happy it's me and not some random dude who would hurt her, but I can't really know that, and I'm just trying to justify myself. About a month ago, I think there was a moment when I felt like maybe she kind of feels the same way. We went out to a friend's birthday. There was quite some people, and she had a few drinks. She took an Uber, and so did I, since I knew I would also get some drinks. She asked me to share the Uber, and on the way there, she was talking about a guy that has been flirting with her, and she said, quote, I'm just just going to read it as is, and maybe you guys can help me figure it out. And she said, quote, why can't it with them how it is with you? Why can't I feel it with them? She went home and I went to my house. We never talked about it because I don't even know what that meant. Maybe she meant it as it's easier to talk to me and open up to me because we've known each other so long. Or maybe she meant it as she likes me but feels guilty that it's me and would rather to feel like that about someone else. I guess the reason I'm here is to just see if maybe I'm thinking about things too much because of how I feel, or there could actually be something there. Maybe she feels the same way. Maybe I should let it go and not ruin the only connection she has with someone close to him. I mean, there's his family and her brother, who were also literally John's best friends, but they live far away from her. I don't know about telling her. I'm terrified of not being how I think it could. So strangers of Reddit, a little help would be helpful. After I posted here, I tried to reach out to her to talk to her and let her know, but she was in quarantine due to being exposed to someone with COVID, so we couldn't see each other for a bit over a week. When she was fine, I said I wanted to take her out to celebrate, that she was okay, and she agreed. We went to a really nice restaurant and had dinner there. Since it was still early, we went to watch a movie, and while we were there, we kissed. She panicked and went outside, told me she would talk to me later, and left. She ignored me for a couple of days. She would read my messages and not say anything or answer my messages. I was extremely anxious, but after the first day, I didn't want to overwhelm her. So the second day, I just texted her saying I was sorry and I would let her have time to think. On the fourth day, she messaged me saying she wanted to talk to me if I wanted to and if I could go to her house. When I arrived at her house, we sat there and she apologized for the way she reacted. She just felt overwhelmed and panicked when she realized we were kissing. She said that she had been feeling a certain way about me and was scared of everything. I told her I had also been feeling a certain way about her and I would never try to do something that would make her feel uncomfortable, and I was so sorry I kissed her. She said she was not mad about me kissing her and that she panicked because she actually liked kissing me until reality hit her. I asked her what did she feel and how did she want us to go about our feelings. She said she didn't know, so I said if she would like for us to just take things slow, like really slow, and just figure it out together, and if not, I would understand. She said she would really like that and that she really likes me, so we did. It has been a month, kind of, and we are still together. We are taking things calmly and keeping it a secret for now. We do not want people to judge, especially since we don't know where this will all go yet. Until then, it will be between us. We've been seeing each other more often now, almost every day, and I've never been happier. I really hope this goes where I want it to go.
My 19-year-old sister got married to her high school teacher. He's 36 years old and everyone seems okay with it. She graduated a year ago and they told us that they were dating, almost immediately after graduation. I was shocked and angry, but everyone around me was happy and supportive of them. The teacher divorced his wife 2 years ago and started paying attention to my sister. He spoke to her after class regularly and paid special attention to her studies. I thought this was weird and talked to my sister about this, but she told me that he was helping her because she was the best student of her class, which she was. A few months ago, only a few months into dating, they announced that they were getting engaged. I tried talking to my parents about their age difference and stuff, but they didn't want to hear it. I talked to my sister and she told me that she's happy and that she loves him. We live in a small town with a tight-knit community and everyone else is supporting their marriage. Eventually, the marriage happens. I contemplated on not going to the ceremony, but I didn't want to hurt my sister, so I went reluctantly. My blood was boiling throughout the whole thing. Everyone who came to the ceremony congratulated them. I couldn't even look the teacher in the face because I was so angry at him. I hated the whole thing. I'm leaving this town tomorrow. I had some interviews lined up and got selected in one. It's in a city and I'm moving tomorrow. I can't stand these people. My parents think that getting married to a good guy with a stable job is the best thing that could have happened to my sister, and my relatives agree. He groomed her. Why doesn't anyone else see that? I wanted to scream at everyone. When I told my sister that I was leaving, she cried. I reassured her and told her I wasn't angry at her. I made it clear to her that she could contact me anytime under any circumstances and I would be there for her. I bought her a phone and told her that I talked to her regularly. I try to not antagonize anyone because I wanted them to reach out to me if anything happens. It was very hard to do so. I came very close to fighting several people. My sister was a star student. I always thought that she would go to a big college and become someone significant. But now, she's going to be a housewife. That thought is destroying me. I wasn't harsh on her because I'm hoping that she wakes up soon and I want to be there for her when that happens. I want to support her and see her full potential, and I'm wishing that it happens soon. I told her not to have children until she's sure. She has a contraceptive implant and I told her not to get it removed for at least a couple years. I told her to tell me if anyone ever pressured her to have it removed. I really hope that she follows my advice. As for the phone thing, my parents did not allow my sister to own a phone. She had to use the landline if she wanted to talk to people. That's why I bought her a phone. I wanted to share an update on my sister's situation. It's been a year and the situation has changed significantly in a positive way. Since the marriage a year ago, I've made it a point to talk to my sister regularly on the phone that I gave her. A few weeks in, her husband started pushing her to be in a traditional wife role, which created a wedge between her and her friends. But I made sure to keep in touch and visit her once every month. Her husband did not like that, but he tolerated it to keep up appearances. To deal with my frustrations, I joined a gym and started working out. Luckily, my boss at my job turned out to be a great lady who listened to me and gave me a lot of support and advice. She told me I could call her when I needed help, and became my mentor and an older sister I could lean on. Some months into the marriage, her husband managed to domesticate her completely. She stopped going out almost entirely and had very little independence, and he tried to start separating my sister from me. However, because I kept a good and consistent relationship with her, he wasn't able to do it. A couple months ago, he started hinting to my sister about wanting kids, but I kept repeating to my sister that she should not have children until a few years into marriage. Last month, he told her directly that he wanted children, and my sister told him that she wanted to wait. He started pressuring her to get the contraceptive implant removed. So last week, I went back home to talk to him. I always try to be polite to him whenever I visit their home so that he doesn't have ammo to try to separate us. During conversation, I brought up how he was pressuring my sister to get her contraceptive implant removed. It escalated into an argument with him saying that he had the right to have children with his wife. When I didn't back down, he got frustrated and took a swing at me, which didn't connect properly. I didn't hesitate in punching him back in his face. He fell backwards and started howling in pain. I wanted to do that since the whole ordeal started and it was satisfying. I think him hitting me was my sister's wake-up call. He called the cops and told them that I assaulted him. Fortunately, I make sure to record everything whenever I visit their home. I called my boss and told her about what happened, and she promised to send a lawyer just in case. When the cops arrived, my sister took my side, which surprised her husband. With me being a woman and with my recording, the cops also took my side. The lawyer arrived after that, and I told her husband that I was taking my sister with me. He tried to protest, but the lawyer warned him I would press charges if he stopped my sister from leaving. He reluctantly let her go, and she's been staying with me for the last week. My parents were furious when they found out that my sister left her husband. They didn't seem to care that he hit me, probably because I stopped talking to them. I'm still talking to my sister about what she wants to do, and will probably start divorce proceedings in a few days. Her husband and my parents have been trying to call her and get her to come back, but I've made sure that she doesn't talk to them without me present. Throughout the whole thing, my boss has been super helpful and has been giving my sister advice about what she could do next. I know that I'm super lucky that my sister managed to wake up so soon and that I've had support from people like my boss. The whole last year, I was worried about how my sister was going to end up, but I'm elated now.
Am I the asshole for not quitting my job at the strip club? I, 25 female, was recently fired from my assistant managing position at a spa. Long story short, I was fired by one of the district managers, all because I was doing what my manager instructed me to do. I can write another story about that if you want. Given that this was out of the blue and I have rent and other bills due, I needed a job ASAP. My roommate, 26 female, does bottle service / cocktail waitressing at a strip club. Given that this was a quick and easy way to get back on my feet, I called her, asking if there was a serving position available. Thankfully, I was hired right away and just started my first day a couple of weeks ago. I'm not a stripper. I just wear a corset, booty shorts, and black boots while serving drinks. It's good money, and I'm really liking my job so far. I even have the opportunity to make more than I was making at the spa. I also like the idea of working nights, so I can go back to school in the daytime. My cousin, 29 female, is not too fond of my decision. When I told her about my new job, she just told me to, quote, be careful. For context, my cousin and I grew up really close. Neither of us have sisters, so we agreed to be aunts to each other's kids. I don't have kids yet, but she has 2 daughters, a 3-year-old and a 5-month-old. I love them both to death. Flash forward to yesterday. My cousin texted me asking how my parents thought about me working at the strip club. I told her that I haven't told them yet, and I'm more nervous about telling them I got fired, so they still think I work at the spa. She then sent me a long paragraph saying that I need to, quote, find another job and that I won't, quote, find a forever man in this industry. She also said, quote, this isn't you. I was very confused, but she assured me that it was coming from a place of love and actually giving a shit. I told her that I appreciated it and that I didn't plan on working at the strip club forever. I also told her that I was glad she cared. That wasn't cutting it for her though, so she said there's other ways to make money and stop selling yourself short. I reminded her that I was in a position where I lost my job out of nowhere and that I have bills to pay. I also assured her that I wouldn't date any of the guys I meet at the strip club. Then she says, wish you the best of luck. I pray that you find what's best for you soon. I knew she came from a place of love and I didn't want to argue. So I said, appreciate it, dude. I love you. All she did was like that last message I sent. I just shrugged it off and went about my day. A few hours go by and she sends me another message. This time, it didn't make me feel loved. She said, quote, just know I am more aware of what I put my girls around, and I don't want that lifestyle around my girls. Obviously, they can make their own decisions one day, but if I do my job right, they won't go into that world. I hate that you decided this for yourself, but that is your choice. Just like it is my choice to not let any of that near my girls. I was shocked. I then told her that my work life is not not my personal life, and that she and my nieces are in my personal life. I then told her that it hurt when she said any of that. I also said that at the end of the day, I need her to support me. I reassured her that I would not bring my work life to my nieces. She then told me that she appreciates my thought process, but it doesn't work that way. She sent a really long paragraph, so I'll try to keep it short. She texted, "I think you not only deserve better, but you have the knowledge of doing better. Again, I would tell my girls the same thing if they ended up where you are. I know the industry." I had no knowledge of her ever working in the industry. She then said, quote, "I've made my own mistakes and I don't want any of that near my babies." She then goes on to say that it's nothing personal to me, just my choices, and that it's not okay to subject her girls into that. I was hurt at this point. I couldn't tell if she was coming out of love or just being straight up judgmental. She then goes on saying that I need to find another way to make money. It also got really confusing because she then referred to me as a badass bitch. At the end of the paragraph, she confirmed that she cannot support me with this choice I've made. It sucks because she's the closest cousin to me, and I have a lot of cousins, let alone she is the only family member who knows where I work. So it's upsetting that she's not in my corner, or at least doesn't make me feel that way. I have so many friends and former coworkers at the spa that are in my corner and are proud of me for making a fast decision to support myself. I don't think my cousin knows that there are servers and strippers at the club who have kids who are busting their asses to help put food on the table and pay for tuition so that they can provide a better life for their kids and themselves. I love my cousin and my nieces. I would never subject my nieces to my job. It hurts that she won't let me see them at all because of what I'm doing to support myself. I love kids, so for someone to tell me that they don't even want their kids around me sucks. I asked my cousin if we could have this conversation in person and she agreed. We haven't picked a day or time to meet up, but I'll keep you updated if you like. As badly as I want to continue being an aunt to the girls and stay close with my cousin, I don't plan on quitting my job anytime soon. It's good money, and I find it easier to save money with it so I can have a better future and not live paycheck to paycheck.
Mother is in town, and it's already been so fucking chaotic and hectic, and she's only been here 24 hours. Love the bitch to death, obviously, but there's been several times throughout the 24 hours where I'm like, is this woman fucking for real? Like, be fucking for real. You guys know my mother fucking loves Jesus and like the church and like God and shit. So yesterday we're in this coffee shop and this man walks by. He's literally in an all black suit. Like, that's just it. And my mom's like, oh my God, it's a priest. It's a priest. My mother was fangirling over a priest. And I was like, Mom, that's not even a fucking priest. She's like, whatever, Olivia. Yeah, it was. I was like, no, Mom, that like legit was a man that worked at a fashion store and had to wear all black. Like, it was not a priest. Go look at my Instagram story. I keep you guys updated on literally every single thing she's done and just like the crazy antics she's up to. Yesterday, I was also telling my mom the difference between a management company and an agency. So I have a management company right now and soon I'll get an agency, right? I'm explaining it to her. First thing this woman says to me is, I just don't understand why Sissy can't be your agent. Mom, why the fuck would Sissy be my agent? Sissy, like, literally, the woman thinks Sissy can do anything. Why the absolute fuck would Sissy be my agent? That makes no sense. I said, no, like, you lost your privileges. We're done with this conversation. We're not talking about this anymore. Because, like, Sissy can't be a fucking agent, Mom. Also, the number one topic of conversation has been her new mans. Like, she's obsessed with her new mans and she finds a time to bring him up in every single fucking conversation we've ever had. Like, it'll be the randomest shit. Well, we were talking about somebody's breakup. I literally don't even remember who. And she's like, Olivia, I'd be devastated if I broke up with my mans because I have never loved somebody so deeply. I go, how the fuck did we start talking about your mans? I'm talking about someone else's breakup and all of a sudden you start talking about your mans and how you'd be like, congratulations, I'm sure you would be fucking devastated. But right now, that's not the topic. Or we'll be like walking past an ice cream shop and she'll be like, Mans loves ice cream. Like, he literally I'm like, Mom, half of America loves fucking ice cream. Like, just find a way to talk about him in the most random times. Like, the man always needs to be brought up. Like, we always need to like just address him for a good 2 minutes. Yesterday she also came over. She did her PR shopping where she just like goes through a bunch of my shit and like takes whatever she wants. And my roommate was here, so she was talking with my roommate for a minute. We leave. She looks at me. She's like, you don't have to be so fucking rude to your roommate. I said, Mom, what the fuck are you I was literally not rude to her at all. I look at Tim. I was like, was I rude to her? And she was like, no, what? I was like, you could be a nicer person. And I was like, what the fuck? Like, I see her every day. This is how we communicate every day. Like, okay, Olivia, you were being so rude. Like, bitch, what? Today I brought her to her favorite little soap shop, which is like so random, but every time she comes to New York, she loves this little soap shop. And last year I was literally like so broke I couldn't get her anything, and she got me like a body oil. I was like, okay, you know what, this time around, like, I want to spoil her, like, let's go in there. And I was like, get whatever the fuck you want. This bitch knows how to run up a tab. I was like, it is a specialty. Tim and I were talking about it. I was like, that woman has a specialty for finding buying the most expensive things in a store and running up a tab. But I knew that going into it. I was like, I'm prepared for her to cost me some. I was like, I've never met someone like that who can just fucking run up a tab like that. Like random shit too. Like she got a $35 lip gloss that was like this big. I was like, whatever makes your soul happy, but that's a little bizarre. Speaking of this fucking little lip gloss, we're in Glossier and I go, Mom, can I see it? She throws it at me. And because we were like low key in a fight. But in the middle of the store, she just chucks this lip gloss at me. And I look at Sissy and I go, she just threw it at me. And Sissy's like, Mom, you can't be throwing like a lip gloss like that at Livy. Like that's so inappropriate. My mom's literally just like, I don't care. So I use the lip gloss and I throw it right back at her. And I'm like, how do we like that? How do we like that? And then we just like giggled a little bit. Also, my mom's best friend is with us. And like, thank the fucking gods. Cause like, she's just like a really good buffer. We always joke that like, she's my dad. It's like, if you guys remember the last family vacation, like when we did in Miami and we got in like that huge fight and didn't talk to each other for like 3 days, like that won't happen when my mom's best friend is around. Cause she is just like the buffer for everything. Literally my dad. My mom's best friend has a new man's. So like the top, and we like love him for some reason. But like, I honestly love him just to piss my mom off because my mom has a new man's too. But anytime we talk about her best friend's new man's, I always go, Robert, we love Robert. And my mom's like, okay, I've had a fuck enough of this. Because if it's not about my mom's man's, she gets like so upset. Because Sissy and Tim and I were like, oh my God, like Robert's gorgeous. Like you did like we love Robert. And my mom's just sitting there like, what about my man's? What about my man's? And we're like, It's so funny because I can just actively see my mother getting pissed the fuck off just because we're not hyping her man's up. We're hyping Robert all the way fucking up. Okay, new mascara. It's Tarte, so let me not talk shit yet. Just sneezed. Love my life. But tomorrow I'm gonna sneeze again, fucker. But tomorrow morning I'm bringing my mom on my podcast and she'll be on next Friday's episode. Yeah, I have a podcast, Midday Fucking Matcha, you guys. Oh my God, I choose a podcast. I have a fucking podcast. I've had one for so long. Let me move that mirror. That's embarrassing. But I'm bringing my mom on. And honestly, I think we're gonna fight a little bit on the podcast, but I asked you guys to ask me questions on my Insta. So we'll see how this goes. So we'll see how today goes. The woman's already calling and bitching about coffee. But like mother, like daughter, I get it.
Am I the asshole for calling my sister stupid and her husband shitty parents from the start because of what they want to name their kid? Okay, so just a little context, because this topic is incredibly touchy for me. I am a man who was given a woman's name at birth. A good example is naming your son Alice. It's not what my name was, but it's close. My parents are hippie and gave their oldest son a girl's name to stick it to the man, and I will never forgive them for it. The name caused me to be bullied and damaged my professional life in ways I cannot describe. Power of a name. We have said that a lot.
Power of a name.
My sister is pregnant with her first child, a girl. She and her husband are ecstatic. It just sucks that she inherited my parents' stupid propensity to see their children as fashion statements. Last night, she revealed to the family the name of her daughter. It's Crystal. KRXSTXL. So X's instead of Y's.
Yeah.
She wants to name her daughter Crystal. I already don't like that name, but it's at least appropriate. He spelled out Crystal, normal.
Yeah.
I was not surprised to learn that my mom helped come up with the name. When she told me, I told her it was a terrible idea. If she wants to name her Crystal, name her Crystal. She tried to explain to me why the X's are there, and I just told her it does not matter.
Wait.
She's naming a human, not a dog. I don't care what kind of fashion statement she's trying to make. This is a person who will have to live with that name until they die, or has it changed. She and my mom brushed me off as just complaining because I was never able to accept my name. I told my sister she was being either selfish, stupid, or an incredibly strong combination of the two if she thinks her daughter will want a stupid name like Crystal with X's. We got into an argument and I told her I already see her and her husband as shitty parents for using their kid to be off-brand with her name and left right after. My sister is not taking it well at all, and my mom is furious at me. I'm starting to wonder if I was too harsh. I will not change my opinion on that incredibly stupid name, but I'm wondering if branding her as a shitty parent was too far.
I, 30 male, am considering ending my relationship with my partner, 26 female, due to her being $250,000 in debt. I am a 30-year-old male and I have a well-paying job, roughly $100,000 per year and no debt. My girlfriend has $250,000 in private student loans from undergraduate private school with a variable interest rate. Recently, the interest hit over 11% and doing the math on the loans has me devastated. With how fast it is growing, she will need to put $25,000 a year into it just to keep it in the same place. That basically guarantees that I will never have financial help during our relationship. Additionally, with how much she will need to work just to pay the loans, I won't have much help around the house or with our kids if and when we have some either. I keep blaming myself that I can't just deal with it. It's just money, right? But at the same time, when I look at the reality of the situation, I can't help but feel I need to walk away from this situation. Additionally, she's going back to school in the fall for a higher paying job, probably 60 to 85K income at the end realistically, with the possibility of 125K a year if she works herself to death. But this program will add another 30K in federal loans. I think this is a bad decision, but it's also the only option she seems to have to up her income. I feel like I don't want to wait until I'm 45 when this debt might be paid off to have children. I don't want to put my life on hold in this way, but I also love her a lot. We've talked a lot about this and about her plan to pay it down, etc. It now feels like my options are either accept that this is reality and it will be many years before she's free of this debt, or end the relationship.
Am I in the wrong for canceling a vacation because my wife can't pay her share after helping her adult son and ex-husband? My wife, 44, makes quite a bit less than me, 45 male, so our joint expenses are split 70-30. To clarify, she contributes 30% of her pay to our joint expenses, bills, utilities, emergency funds, retirement. 70% of her pay she keeps for personal expenses to spend or save how she wishes. Dates, vacations, and fun things we choose to do together are budgeted and planned based on what we can afford from our personal funds. Pool that money together, then pay together. For the most part, things like vacations and where we bought a house are decided based on what she can afford. But there have been several times I've paid in full for vacations to places I really enjoy and wanted to share the experience with her. She has a 23-year-old son from her previous marriage. When she and I got together, I told her that I wouldn't mind paying for extra things here and there until her son was 18 and working or in school so she could take care of him. For the majority of our relationship, he's lived with his father. He decided against college or trade school and hasn't expressed any interest in starting to figure out a plan for the immediate future, let alone his life. He floats from job to job, and his father is pretty much the same since the kid graduated. Therein lies the problem. Every few months, they'll call her for a few $100s here and there. Sometimes it's her son calling for help, sometimes it's her ex-husband. This has caused her to be short on funds for our plans, or things she volunteered to cover on more than one occasion. Her reasoning when her ex is asking is that since her son still lives with him, she has to help him. I get that to a point. We were supposed to go on a vacation later this month. Nothing major or fancy, just some time away. We had agreed to split the costs, and all that was left to pay were the hotels, rental car, and some reservations. Her ex-husband called needing help getting his car out of impound and getting caught up on rent. Their son hasn't been able to get to work without the car because he doesn't want to ride a bike or take a bus. Almost $5,000 later, they're set up, but my wife told me that she can't pay for her portion of our vacation, so I told her that I was canceling it. She called me a heartless ass, that she's just taking care of her son, and we've been arguing over it, but my stance is this. They're both able-bodied adults that keep making a series of life decisions that keep them at a standstill, like quitting jobs over little things, smoking, going out, and her always digging them out of their hole is starting to impact our lives more and more. And I didn't sign up for that. Am I in the wrong for canceling our vacation instead of just footing the entire cost myself?
My boyfriend asked for a paternity test for our child. As soon as the results come and show he is the father, I'm leaving him. I'm a new mom to a baby boy who is my pride and joy, and though it's been a roller coaster adjusting to taking care of a baby, the past few months have been great, tiring but great. I have a boyfriend of 3 years who is the first person relationship-wise I have ever loved, and I thought we were doing great as new parents but also as partners. Friday, he came home and he asked me for a paternity test. Just like that. It was completely out of the blue. I was putting away the dishes and he asked for one. Like he was asking what's for dinner. I'm a different race from him, but our child, apart from the skin tone, is literally his mirror image from pictures I had seen of him when he was a baby. I was stunned when he asked, and his reasons were that he had to be sure he was the father. He had to have that certainty. All I remember as he was speaking is just immediately feeling pain. The man I love doesn't trust me. He would actually believe that I would sleep with someone else, cheat on him, and then try to pass off another man's baby as his. I have never ever given him reason to think I would cheat on him. I have tried to be transparent and communicate, and it wasn't enough. He told me he would give me time to think about this, that he wouldn't go behind my back and do this test, but for our relationship to move forward, he needs to be 100% sure. He repeated this because he, in his words, needed me to realize how serious he was. After thinking for a couple of days, I'm going to allow him this paternity test because I have nothing to hide. I never cheated and would have never cheated on him. Once it's proven that he's the father, I'm ending it, leaving the same day, and I am going to try my best to be a cooperative co-parent with him. In the meantime, I'm coming up with my exit plan, a place to live, and a lawyer to work out a custody arrangement in court. I can't even tell my family or my friends right now because they would go nuclear, and my first priority is our child. I hope the test was worth it to him. I was so angry and planned to leave, but the anger was quickly replaced by hurt once I calmed down. I realized if I blindsided him like that, I would be doing the exact same thing that he did to me when he asked for a paternity test. I planned to ask him to talk, but I also didn't want him to think I was trying to get out of the test. So beforehand, I booked an appointment at 2 different paternity test locations. I asked him to talk when he came home, and I made sure our child was at my mom's. I told him that whatever happened with this talk, the paternity tests had been booked and would go forward. I basically asked him his reasoning, and when he started having doubts about paternity, was it a previous relationship? Did cheating happen? He said it was about a week before he asked me that he started having doubts. He said that he was on his lunch break one day just reading articles, and he clicked on an old article about a man who found out his 3 kids weren't his after like 20 years. This led him into a rabbit hole of podcasters and YouTube videos that encouraged men to ask for paternity tests. While he thought those podcasters were idiots, he said that paternity was an exception. He said his reasoning was that some women have done this before and he wanted to be sure. He said, you know it's yours because the baby comes out of you, but how do I know? The test gives me that assurance. I was hurt by that, but I decided to explain how I felt. I said that for him, it was a rational request, while for me, it was basically him saying that he didn't trust me. It was him saying that he believed I would cheat on him, get pregnant, have him emotionally, financially, and physically support me during the pregnancy and birth, and basically lie to him while he raised another man's child. I told him that I understand that women had done this before, but the fact that he thought I would do this to him is what bothered me. I told him the truth, that when I was angry, I had planned to leave, and that I even went looking for a lawyer, a co-parenting plan, and a new place to live. He was stunned that I would leave for something so small. I found that to be a weird kind of irony, that he believed issuing an ultimatum about a paternity test and basically accusing your partner of cheating was something small. I told him I was really hurt by what he said, that I was still hurt, but that if he needs this peace of mind, that we would do it. He asked what about our relationship, and I told him I didn't know. We did the test 2 days later, and got the results back after 3 days. He opened both of them, and to my surprise, he's not the dad.